Today I'll be here for a day and a half. Well, it'll feel like that way. No, today is parent-teacher conferences, so I will be here until 7:45 tonight. So for the next 12 and a half hours, I'll be up here. So if your parents are looking to have any conversations with any teachers, this is their chance. They can come on up and see us live in person up at the virtual school. So that big day. And of course, this is our last week of November because next week is Thanksgiving, and then we'll come back on December 1st. That Monday is December 1st. So this is our last week of November for classes. So it's like, wow, that's just has zipped right on by. And of course, when we get back, this is since it's a late Thanksgiving now this year, we've only got 2 weeks of class and then finals week when we get back. So that's not very much left of the semester. 2 weeks of class and finals after this week. So if you got any classes where you're behind on things, this is a good reminder that you don't have much time to get stuff caught up. So any classes that you are behind, you want to put a lot of work into because we are almost done with the semester. So, all right, welcome. Come on in, everybody. Plenty of room in our we can stretch the walls if we need to. Plenty of room in our little virtual classroom here. Our virtual door is always open. Not really. I'll slam it when we're done here, and then nobody can come in anymore. But it's always welcome for you guys. So, yep, it's not coming out. There we go. But yep, parent-teacher conferences tonight. So I think they started 4:15 till 7:45 tonight. So I'm usually done with school 2:45 since I'm here for 0 hour, but I'll hang around for that hour and a half. I mean, I could leave for that hour and a half and come back at 4:15 for parent teacher, but I usually just stay here. I got some programs to grade and some other math assignments to grade, and so I'll get caught up on things during that time. And we got about half of us here, just a little over half. We'll give it another moment or so. See if people go to miss. So I did make it to the movies this weekend. I went and saw The Running Man with Glenn Powell. It's actually The Running Man was a book by Stephen King, like back in the early '80s. He wrote this book called The Running Man, and Arnold Schwarzenegger made a movie about it, like 1990 or somewhere around there. And it was good. I enjoyed The Running Man back when Schwarzenegger made. This is like a remake of that movie, but from what I understand, this version is closer to the book, where Schwarzenegger's movie kind of varied a little bit farther away from how the book actually was, which, that's not uncommon in movies to where they'll change some things to where they think it makes the movie more appealing than the way the book had it written, perhaps. So, but this one apparently stays a little bit closer and true to the book. But I enjoyed it. It was good. Glenn Powell apparently is the man because I see him in all these commercials. I see him in all these shows. I see him in movies. It's like I've been seeing him everywhere, it seems like. So he's like the most popular actor in Hollywood right now. It just seems to me. But it was a good movie. We liked it. We liked it. And of course, it's very gory, bloody, lots of killing and stuff like that. I mean, the whole movie is about the running man who, if he can survive for 30 days, he gets like $1 billion or something. He gets a ton of money because everyone's trying to kill him, and it's a game show. It's a game show. It's on TV at the time, so it's some dystopian future to where everyone just loves to watch other people die, and so they have a game show to where he's released and given like a head start of like an hour or two or something, and then everyone there's a group of hunters that are trying to hunt him down, but people from the public, if they spot him, they can turn him in and win money themselves. Hey, you told the hunters where the running man is, so take a picture, send it to us, you win money too. So it's a game show where everyone's trying to get this guy killed. So it's just crazy. So one of those crazy things. All right, it is 7:22. We've waited long enough. We've only got 10 of us here, and there's missing quite a few. But let's pull up Buzz. Oh, I'm not even on the right screen. And Buzz, let me get this up. Okay, let's take a look and see what this week holds for us. If we go to our grade screen, as we usually do, we can see that Mr. Brock didn't turn something in. My grade has dropped. Oh, I didn't get last week's assignments turned in. I'll get those turned in today. I'll be here a day and a half. I got time to get those turned in. We have the test. We're done. We're done with quadratics. This is our quadratics module. Our last assignment was last week. So we have the practice test and parts 1 and 2 of the test. So let's switch over and take a look at what that looks like. Here it is, the module. Now we do have the review before the practice test. And this has all of the lesson summaries from the lessons we've looked at. So again, this is unit 3. I've renumbered the units. This used to be the second unit, but these are all the greatest common factors and special products, factoring by grouping, sum and difference of cubes. So if you didn't have the notes down, remember you can use your notes in the tests and everything. You can use Desmos in the tests. You can use these notes. Sum of cubes pattern. If you have a to the third plus b to the third, this is how it factors. A to the third minus b to the third, this is how it factors. So steps to factoring the sum and difference of cubes. So all these lesson summaries are here. Graphing quadratics, anything from all the lessons. Here's all the summaries. If we go to the next, look here at the practice test, factoring completely. So it'll start right off with this is all about factoring and solving quadratics, right? This is 36x squared minus 121. Looks like that's a difference of squares because that's 6x squared and 11 squared. So you should be able to use your notes to say, well, if that's a difference of squares, I can immediately jump to the answer, just right there. Factor this. Looks like you can pull a 2 out as the greatest common factor to start with. Factor this. So a lot of factoring. What's the factored form? What's the factored form? Then we'll get to the vertex form. What is the value of h? If you look at the graph, so was f of x equals x squared, which means the vertex should be on the origin, but it's been shifted over and down, and it has this x minus h squared plus k. What is the value of h? Looking to see where the graph is now. And you can test that in Desmos if you're not sure. But it's either -2, -4, 4, or 0. So there you go. I'm going to go with -2. What is the value of k in this one, right? What is the axis of symmetry? And this is in vertex form. Great. That helps me know right away that it must be x equals 2. Because x minus 2, that'd be the h, was the vertex. And since this is in vertex form, it's -2, 5, because the h is -2 and the k is 5. What's the y-intercept? And this is in standard form. Thank you. So it's, the x's will be 0. Describe the translation. Use this graph to solve the average rate of change from x equals -2 to x equals -1. So remember, it doesn't matter what the slope of the quadratic is. I want to know from this point right here where x is -2 to this point where x is -1, what's the slope between those 2 points? There was a line connecting those. You do rise over run. So there, must be -2 because it goes down 2 and over 1 between those 2 points. Solve by completing the square. Solve this however you want to. Maybe it factors. It doesn't look like it factors according to the answers. It looks like this may be the quadratic formula or completing the square to get you the answer of that one, whichever you prefer. Another one, solve this. It's not in standard form yet. You need to set it equal to 0. So that means you need to subtract 24 from both sides. And look, the answers are going to have a radical in there. So that's either completing the square or the quadratic formula. Another one. This one has complex answers, which means imaginary answers. That might be best for the quadratic formula. Or you could complete the square. But 20 questions. That's it. Just 20 questions. I'm going to turn that in so I can go to the next thing and show you. Let's take a look at the test itself. Oh, I do have the video. Where I took the test right there. 37 minutes to do 20 questions. I will apologize at the beginning. I put the note right here in Buzz to remind me. When I printed off the practice test, Buzz randomized the question order. I turned it off later. I didn't realize it was doing that. So the questions on the practice test are the same questions that you're doing, but they may not be in the same order. Number one may not be the same number one you have. So you may have to look. If you're trying to find, I didn't know how to do number 4, you may have to look through my video to find out where number 4 is. It may not be number 4 on my video. So you just have to scroll forward and see what I'm working at different parts. Is that it? What is the axis of symmetry for that? No, that was much later in the year. That's probably number 12, 13, 14. But it's number 3 on mine. So you just have to jump around and figure out. There's the x squared plus 4x minus 4. That's like one of the last questions. But it was number 6 on mine, but I was using the quadratic formula. So there is the video, though, that I will go through all of the practice tests. Let's look at part 1. Oh, this is just the instruction page right here. It just says, congratulations, you completed the module. Take the test. Let's see how many questions are on part 1 here. Factor completely. Factor completely. That looks like a difference of squares again. That makes that quick and easy. Which of the following is a factor? What is a factor of this? That looks like factoring by grouping there. What is the equation of this graph? It gives you the vertex. It's one of these 4. If you need to, you can use Desmos. If you can't, look at the vertex and know which one it is. Use this graph. What is the average rate of change from x equals 0, which would be way up here, to x equals 4, which would be over here? Find those points. Make a line between them. What would the slope be? Solve. This is not in standard form. You have to move the negative 24 to the other side. What's the solution to this? What are the solutions of this? 10 questions. 10 questions. Part 1 has 10 questions. So, all right, let me leave that. Yep, I know I have not turned it in. Let's look at part 2. Part 2 has show the work to factor this completely. Factor that as far as a little factor. X to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 9. Solve this. Give me what x equals. 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. However you want to do that. There's more than one way to do it. Completing the square, quadratic formula. Maybe it factors. I don't know. Maybe you can do it by grouping. Let's see. 2 functions. Now, this is where I like to make a note. There's 2 functions down below. There is the f of x, which is an equation. And there's h of x, which is a graph. These are not the same. These are two different formulas. Functions, f of x and h of x. State the axis of symmetry for each function and tell me how you found it. What is the axis of symmetry for f of x? What is the axis of symmetry for h of x? And how do you know? And number 4, there's only 4 questions on this part. Again, f of x is this function and g of x is this function. And they are both in vertex form. So they have already been rewritten using completing the square. So you don't have to complete the square. It's already been done. They're in vertex form. So apply your knowledge of functions in vertex form and tell me if the vertex for each function, is it a minimum or is it a maximum? That's what you're answering. For f of x, the vertex is it a minimum or a maximum? And how do you know? How do you know? Same thing for g of x. Is that a minimum or a maximum? How do you know? You don't have to tell me what the vertex is. You can, but you don't have to. You just have to tell me what's a minimum, maximum, and how you know that. I put that on there because a lot of people miss it from sometimes. Note, 2 answers required here. I don't want you to get half the points just because you only answered f of x or g of x. Give me 2 answers. So 10 questions for part 1, 4 questions for part 2. I like to emphasize that part 2, when it says show your work, that's to your benefit, because if you do the first one and it says show the factors, and you or the second one that we solve, and you say, okay, I solved it, it's x equals 4 and x equals 1, and that's all you tell me. You didn't show me any work. You didn't tell me how you got x equals 4. You didn't tell me how you got x equals 1. You just said that's the answers. Well, if that's right, maybe you'll get 5 points because you gave me the right answer. That's worth 10 points. But you won't get more than that, I'll guarantee you, because I don't know if you asked somebody else the answer, you found the problem on the internet and got the answer, you just guessed and got the answer. I don't know if you knew how to solve it, but you gave me 2 X's. Now, the bad part of that, it's like, oh great, that's easy, 5 points. What if the answer was actually -4 and -1, and you missed the negatives? Okay, I guess you get 0 points because all you told me was the final answers. You were wrong on the final answers. I can't justify any points for you. However, if you showed me the work and you put 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0, so now I'm going to use this method to factor, or I'm going to use the quadratic formula, or I'm going to complete it whatever way, and you show me how you worked it, and I can see you got down to the end and you knew it was 4 and 1, but you missed the negatives. Oh, you were so close. You worked it correctly. Yes, it was 4, but it was -4. It wasn't +4, and it was -1. It wasn't. I'll probably give you 9 points if everything looked good, but you just missed that it was negative instead of positive. Okay, you gave me the wrong answers, so I can't give you 10 out of 10. But I can tell you knew how to solve it. You showed me the steps. You used one of the many ways we can solve quadratics, and you knew what to do. Well, you just missed that it was a negative instead of a positive. That's a simple mistake. We make those mistakes from time to time. As long as some point, hopefully, we catch it and go back. Oh, wait, that is a negative. So you could theoretically do all 4 of those problems, not get a correct answer at all, but you could still get 80 to 90% of the points if you're showing me all the work and you just have one little simple mistake on each one. Well, your answers are wrong on all 4. But hey, good, you got like 34 out of 40 points because you got most of the points because you were doing the right process. You were doing it correctly. You just made a little simple mistake to where all your answers were wrong. But man, what a great day when I can turn in all wrong answers and still make like 80 to 90% on a test. That's the benefit of showing your work. Now, maybe you look at ones like, I have no idea how to do this. I'm totally lost. I'm just going to leave it blank. Well, why just leave it blank and get 0 points? At least try something. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll try the quadratic formula. And you put some numbers in front. I'm like, okay, well, it didn't really work because you kind of messed up some things. But you showed me some work. I will give you some points. I'll just try to justify how much of this is actually right. I'll give you a point or two just for attempting it with some kind of method that we've learned. Maybe it's the wrong method. Oh, well, you can't really use factoring by grouping with this one, or you didn't take out the greatest common factor, and that's why you didn't see this was just a difference of squares. But you was trying this, and so you can get some points, which is better than just leaving it blank and getting 0 points. Every point helps. So don't just leave it blank. Attempt something we've learned. You should have notes on multiple ways to solve quadratic equations: difference of squares, difference of cubes, sum of cubes, sum of squares, factoring by grouping, just factoring, quadratic formula, We learned all these different ways. So if you have your notes, use your notes. You probably will have examples written down that are very similar to what we have here, because that's when we take notes. We copy down these notes that have problems exactly like the test has. So, oh yeah, I got a problem where I worked at. Okay, what's the next step? Great, I can do that, do that. And if you want to, they asked about this yesterday, and some of you already know this, but for those of you who don't know this, it's like, Mr. Brock, this is hard for me to do on Buzz. Can I just do this problem on paper and solve this? 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. Can I do that and just show you my work? Yes, you can do it on paper, and Buzz allows you right here, if you've explored this little menu, insert image. Take a nice picture that I can read. If it's dark where I can't read nothing or real blurry, I may have to email you and say, I can't read your work. I don't even know what you did. Make sure it's a nice picture that you can read and see your work. You can take a picture and attach a photo of your paper. Do it on pencil and paper. That's fine. So there are many ways to do it. Of course, there's the insert equation that if you're going to do it on Buzz, 3x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals 0. That's my first look. Look, it actually looks like an equation. When I do it in the insert equation, it actually puts the squared up there so it looks right and all that kind of stuff. So use the insert equation if you're typing different things on Buzz. You could also insert image. That is an option. So just want you to be aware of that. All right, guys, no lesson this week, nothing new. You just have the test. It's due Sunday. Hey, wait a minute. Sunday, we're on Thanksgiving break. Yeah, you're right. That means Mr. Brock's not going to look at it next week. He's not going to look at it at all. I'm not going to look at this until December, because we're on Thanksgiving break next week. I'm not going to start opening up my computer and grading things on Thanksgiving break. I would encourage you to get everything turned in and have a whole week break. But if you are behind, again, we've got 2 weeks plus finals after Thanksgiving break. If you get the Thanksgiving break and you're way behind, and not just my class, I'm talking about any class, you need to use some of that break to get caught up, because that means you've taken a break earlier in the semester and didn't get stuff turned in. And so you've already used some of your Thanksgiving break. Get everything work this. Do you have to do finals in person? We do not do them in person. What we have done is we have done them on a meet, and I'll check and see how we're doing that this year. But we have a meet. The finals, like the way we did it last year, is it's on Buzz just like usual, but you can't access it without coming to the meet because it's password protected. And when you come to the finals, I give you the password. Okay, here's the password. You can open up and do your final, and then you do the final here in class. I have not heard the plan this year. I expect it'll probably be the same, but we have not required people to come in person. We don't do that. So we don't have enough room for everyone to come in and take their finals in person. All we have is the lab. And so if all the teachers brought all their students in, we'd be sitting in each other's laps. So, all right, guys, that's all you got this week. No need for you to hang around in class for me, unless you're working on some past work that you got questions about. But got the practice test. You got parts 1 and part 2 not due until Sunday, which means I'm not going to look at it for 2 weeks, because I'm not going to do anything during Thanksgiving break to grade anything. So have a great week. Have a super Thanksgiving. I am here Thursday and Friday. So if you have any problems or questions, if you're starting the test to get lost, you can still come see me on Thursday and Friday. I won't give you the exact answer, but I can help you figure out how to do it. I can do that. So have a fabulous week, and we will catch you either later this week or after the break.